Why do I write? Why do I make content? Why do I make videos? Why do I talk about all those things the state are doing? When it invites a certain amount of ridicule with very little reward. I don't get a lot of fanfare when I make people who worship Donald Trump or people who worship the Democratic Party or people who worship government in general when they all dislike everything I have to say. I don't make I'm not a very popular creator because of those things. So why do I do it? I don't know. I feel compelled. It's the one weapon I have, and I can't control what the state is doing. I can't control you defending what the state does. I can't control that every time I criticize Donald Trump, I get a legion of commenters telling me that I'm a libtard. I can't control that every time I criticize the Democratic Party or whoever their president is or favored politician or podcaster or whatever at the time, that I'm called a maggot. So I'm not bothered by it, but I can't control those things. And I can't control that right now Donald Trump is doing everything in his power to lead us into World War III. I can grasp at the reason why, and I believe the reason why is because the empire's collapsing, the dollar's failing, and a lot of people think those are reasons to assert dominance. I believe I've come to discover that people look for leadership in the world. They admire what they want to be. So there's, I think, a weak subset of people. I shouldn't judge. There is a people who see Donald Trump and his adventurism as strong, and they want to be that, and so they are going to accept whatever he does. It is what it is. I can't do anything about that. If Donald Trump creates war in South America and that invites the Chinese and the Russians and they start marching northward and we end up having war in our own backyard, I can't prevent that. All I can do is tell you about it. And even if all that doesn't happen, what I can tell you, the reason I do this, the honest reason I do this, I'm hoping that I reach one person, 5 people, 10 people that understands we need to opt out, that you can't vote your way out of this. If Trump doesn't start World War III, if Trump doesn't collapse the economy, if Trump doesn't collapse the empire is going to collapse. They build off of each other. The last emperor, the last president, built on what the previous president did. This president built on what he did, and then the one before him did. And they all built on what Obama did, and they all built on what Bush did, and they all built on what Clinton did, and Bush before him, and Reagan, and all the way back to at least 1861, and probably back to the ratifying conventions. And now we're at a point where the empire has reached peak. We're at Rome, and Rome's about to fall. What happens when it does? What are you going to do then? It really shouldn't affect me and you that much. If the dollar isn't the world's currency, it doesn't matter. America has all the talent, all the guns, all the oceans, all the landmass that the everyday citizen shouldn't be affected by what the dollar does in the world, as long as we can trade with each other. What we need and what we have to do, and what I'm trying to build, I don't care if it's 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, a village, whatever. We have to have competing currencies. We have to have communities. We have to have voluntary alliances, not forced ones, not coerced ones. We have to have a system that doesn't rely on the state. We should have a system that doesn't rely on the state. Everything that people are afraid of in the absence of a state, the state already does. You're afraid that people are going to come and take your stuff if there's no state to protect you. The state comes and protects your stuff if you don't do what they want to do. They are the mob. Like that really boils down to it is everyone is afraid that if the state mafia isn't there to be the enforcer, that some mafia will come along and be the enforcer. The state already is that. Like the worst fear that could happen in the collapse of a state is you get what you already have. The best remedy against that is to make the state or any power structure irrelevant. We should be able to buy meat, buy milk, buy vegetables, grow meat, grow milk, grow vegetables. We should be able to do those things. We should be able to trade with each other in whatever way we see fit without giving any portion of it to any mafia head. So what I'm talking about is simple. It's not for everybody. The masses aren't buying in. The masses are. We have 2,000 years. We have an entire history of training people to be reliant on government. We're not going to change that today. The reason for that's simple. There was a time when the world was barbaric. There was a time before agriculture, before technology. There was a time in history where it made sense to pal up with the most powerful, strongest people in the world, dominate whoever was around or prevent somebody else from dominating you, and taking as much as you could because that was survival. We're not starting from that point. If everything goes away today, we're starting from a point. That's where everybody gets it so mixed up. We're starting from a point today where government is so obsolete. Government is an infringement of prosperity. Government is, they create danger. They don't protect you from danger. The reason, blowback is the most important thing that you can learn about as far as if you're going to talk about foreign policy intelligently. If other powers around the world feel they're being threatened, they're going to move into a situation to prevent that aggression. So if China feels like it has to move into South America to keep its importance, and the United States feels like it has to keep China out of South America so that China doesn't gain that importance, it doesn't affect you or I. But one action causes the other action there. Governments do that. Even the mafia understands now, like even the cartels, even the gangsters understand that if peace is an option, it's the more profitable solution. We have the technology now. We have the experience of a human lifetime to understand that cooperation, that voluntary exchanges are far more profitable than extortion. I'm not telling you there won't be dangerous people in the world. I'm not telling you there won't be dangerous things. I'm not telling you there won't be power-hungry monsters. I'm telling you that we won't be giving them badges, that we won't be putting them in offices with armies to protect them and legitimizing them. I'm telling you that those, instead of in the world we have created, the most powerful monsters are the ones who succeed. They're the ones who rule the world. We put them there. We legitimize it. In honest everyday life, though, the ones who are happy, the ones who are achieving real things, who are building things, who are growing things, they do that voluntarily. They do that by, hey, I know you have a need. I can solve it. Let's work on that. And then somebody else comes in and says, hey, I can solve it better and cheaper. And then somebody else comes in and says, well, hey, I can solve what you're doing better and cheaper. And then you have competition, you have free markets, you have free exchange, you have prosperity. The only thing preventing a better, freer society, not a perfect one, not a utopia. The only thing preventing it is your reliance, your mind, and your reliance on the state. The state does nothing beneficial for you. Maybe you think they build the roads. Check out my article about who will build the roads. Maybe you think they're needed to manage healthcare. Check out my article on the history of healthcare, my podcast series on the history of healthcare. Maybe you think we need banks to set exchange rates. Maybe you think we need them to issue currency. I'm about to write you the history of currency. They don't maintain order. They don't protect you. All they do is keep themselves in power and enrich themselves. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. It's Mike Shaner. If you've stood with me on this 10-minute walk, you're a trooper, and I appreciate you. Please go subscribe to antistatecontent.substack.com. Subscribe to the Anti-State Content YouTube channel, and Mike Shaner on Facebook. You can also Black Market Cattle Company on Facebook, Mike Shaner or Black Market Cattle Company on TikTok. I doubt this is going to get seen because the time and my limited reach. I doubt this is going to get seen by more than 3 or 4 or 5 people, and I doubt if any of you make it to the end here. But if you do, I appreciate you, and please go subscribe to all those things. Help me spread the word. Share. Thank you.